Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Salam Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. The Honorable Sir Muhammad Candra, S.Pd, M.Ed, Lecturer of Academic Speaking Sapri 2024. First, I would like to say and give my humble gratitude, especially for giving me the opportunity to deliver my speech or presentation in a form of a video. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the main topic, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dedi Ariansyah. I'm actually a third student semester of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, majoring in English Language Education 2023. So tonight, I will be explaining a research study which title is ESP Need Analysis of Computer and Network Engineering in Vocational High Schools. I'll repeat it one more time. ESP Need Analysis, ESP, which stand for English Specific Purposes. ESP Need Analysis of Computer and Network Engineering in Vocational High Schools. So this research study was actually conducted by two students from Indonesian Educational University. These two students are Nurhasanah and Kurniawan. And also, this research study was legally published on Journal of English for Academic. So the focus of my presentation is actually to elaborate this research furthermore, which purpose of study is to actually analyze, not only analyze but also investigate, not only investigate but also exploring the needs of learning English for specific purposes or ESP, especially for students who major on computer and network engineering, especially for vocational high school students. So these are some of the research questions that can be included and can be found from this research study. The first one is, what are the students' needs and challenges in learning ESP? And then, how effective is the current English curriculum in addressing these needs? And then the last is, what resources and support do teachers require to teach ESP effectively? So what is the point of this? Actually, as we all know, based on the research study, some students, especially vocational high students who major in computer and network engineering, because of their curriculum, their materials of English are actually the same as the other high school's material. But in this field, especially in vocational high school, computer and network engineering, they have some terminology that cannot be learned, that cannot be taught, and that cannot be just understood just by learning the general English. So this is why the researchers actually address the importance of ESP itself and why it must be done by the teachers, especially the teachers who are working in the fields of vocational high school. Okay, now I won't be explaining the whole body of this research. First, I will start with the methodology that is used to collect all of the data and create the whole content of this research. So this research study actually used both qualitative and quantitative method. The research design is actually a case study approach. To collect all of the data, the researcher actually conduct two types of data collection method, which are questionnaire and interview. For the questionnaire itself, the researchers actually gave 12 questions distributed to 44 grade 11 students through a Google Forms. Okay, so the questionnaire itself, it was given to 20 males and 24 females with a total of 44 students. And the questionnaires actually focus The questions that is given to the questionnaires actually focus on proficiency of English, challenges, and expectations. And then they also conduct a second method, which is interview, open-ended interview with 6 students and 1 teacher, which purpose is to address and explore the understanding of ESP, and then what the teacher and the student struggles while learning ESP, and what kind of available resources that can be used. Okay, so now from those data collections, we can come into the next body of this research, which is the key findings. Based on the questionnaires given and the data collected, for the students' English proficiency, about 63.6% of students, they identify themselves strong in reading. Okay, about 61.4% of students believe that they are good in writing, and about 36.6% of students, they actually have a good listening skills on English proficiency. But about 40.9% of students are actually weak in grammar, and the rest, about 36.4%, are also having a struggles to comprehend their vocabularies. And then here are some things that can be concluded from the interview. First is the misunderstanding of ESP English specific purposes. Many students equate ESP with general English and lack exposure to ESP specific materials. And also because of the inadequate resources, because some textbooks are designed for general high school students, this create and makes the student to have a lack technical, especially in vocabulary. And then, based on the findings, according to the researchers, there are some challenges that is being faced by the teacher itself. First, they have lack of training, especially in mastering ESP, and then they have insufficient institutional support for developing ESP specific materials. So, for example, for instance, while students are confident in their listening and reading skills, they struggle with technical vocabulary like network diagnostic and firewall configuration, which are essential for their fields. So as we all knew, based on this research study, this is why we need the ESP. This is why the vocational high school need to apply and implement ESP into their curricula, because some terminology like network diagnostic and firewall configuration cannot be understood just by learning general English, just like the one we learn on general high schools. Okay, this network diagnostic and firewall configuration can be put into ESP curricula, because if the ESP curricula is being constructed, then it will set the focus, the English vocabulary will be put, or the focus will be put into this field. So this is why the ESP are essential for their field. And then we come into the next slide, or the next body, which is the challenges identified. There are 3 main challenges. The first one is lack of specialized textbook and teaching materials. As we all know from the finding, some students, some teachers, they're actually struggling because there are no sufficient teaching materials. There is no specialized textbook for them, so that they won't be able to deliver the knowledge because the lack of specialized textbook. And then teachers limited ESP training and resources, and then student misunderstanding of ESP relevance and also a low motivation. So here are some things that the researchers can recommend for the students. Um, sorry, for students and the teachers. I mean, for the whole industry of vocational high school, we should develop industry-aligned ESP curricula, and then the system should provide funding and resources for vocational schools, because yeah, some vocational schools are actually lack of specialist textbook and resources that actually support the idea of ESP in this field. And then we could also offer a professional development program for teacher. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about for the body. Then we come into the conclusion. ESP is crucial for aligning vocational education with industry need. Because as we all know, by only implementing the general English in a vocational high school, the students who major in computer and network engineering, they will have gaps, especially gaps in material training and etc. So what can we do? According to the researchers, we can improve our researchers and training for teachers, because it is vital to ensure vocational students and so that they will be prepared for their careers. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about. Before I close my presentation, does anyone have any question? If no, then I would like to close my presentation by saying Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.